Do you feel like our marriage is too stubborn to fail? Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. I am your host, Darren Perkins, and we got our co-host in the building, the lovely Teneasha Perkins. How you feeling today? We are actually recording at our first pop-up shop. So, we got merchandise here. We got everything. The new shirt, just showing the new shirt out today that we just dropped. Real excited about that. Thank you all for pre-ordering their shirts. Those are in the mail, so you should expect them within the week. Um, Other than that, the trip up here was pretty smooth. What would you say? And that's really important to note because my wife gets anxiety in the car. So the fact that she basically had a smooth ride and no nausea, no upset stomach or nothing like that. So it's a blessing for us to be able to make a smooth trip and get here super early still. So I mean, we got still got time to kill, so we'll be recording. Got a few good topics to discuss today. Um, the one that I wanted to start off with. Um, do you feel like our marriage is too stubborn to fail? Yeah, and you gotta speak up because we got so we talk. What in your words, what would you think makes our marriage too stubborn to fail? I would agree with that. And just to piggyback off of what you were saying, as far as like our marriage, we've never really had any like real rough patches to say. No marriage is perfect, but I feel as though we have everything in house and we are equipped to handle any trials or tribulations that we would have. Now, with that being said, we haven't had a lot to overcome, but the things that we have had so far, I think we've handled them pretty well. And a lot of that, I think, is a testament to our communication. Would you agree with that? Yeah. So, what I mean by communication is, if we do have any problems or feel some kind of way, we might have our moments where we need to step away and cool down, but we always come back together and discuss what it was that made us feel some type of way, and that's important. That's, it's important for many ways, but I like the fact that we don't really let things fester because small things can turn into big things at that point. And I'm really thankful to have a wife that understands my level. I guess I could say my calmness, because I think sometimes I'm so calm and laid back that it could appear that I don't care, and I don't ever want to come off as that. And I think so far that you have been very understanding of how I operate. Hey, hey, um, she got me there. Um, but like I said, I am thankful that you allow me to operate in my space and not have to become something. We've never had a true argument. Never called you out of your name. You never called me out of mine. Always have had a respectful relationship. Um, Never put our hands on each other. Um, just all around, I would say, just a good relationship. Um, what What are some of the things that you would want to see get better out of our relationship? Okay, I like that. Other than dating, is it anything else that you would like to see? Uh, Not a change, but an upgrade. Is it any aspect of our relationship that you would like to upgrade? Ooh, that was a low blow, y'all. I just sat up here and said that we were so respectful, and she gonna come out of her mouth with the drive. Now, in my defense, we already have established that you have anxiety in the car. So my form of driving is not that of someone who likes to go slow. Now, I don't feel like I drive fast. I just drive. I just drive. I don't necessarily pay attention to a speed limit. Um, but I don't speed. Exactly. I don't I don't feel as though that I speed. I always get us there safely. We've never had an accident ever. Um, but yeah, I guess I can be more mindful of that. But that's something that's just like I'm on cruise control. I'm behind the wheel. We 9 times out of 10 we got some good music on, so it's just like a whole vibe in the car. But you know, that this is the thing about communication. Your mate tells you something to work on, it's worth looking into. Even if you don't feel as though it's something that you have a problem with, you still feelings can't be wrong. Opinions can't be wrong. Um, they are what they are. They're valid. They're valid, and not on they should not only be valid to the person who's feeling that way, but your mate as well. Um, it's a two-way street, and we have not we would not have made it as far as we have without that level of communication. Um, and that leads me, and that's a perfect segue into the next topic. We're coming up on 5 years. 5 years of marriage. We've been together for a while, but officially on paper, in front of God and a bunch of our family members, we're coming up on 5 years, July 29th, 2022. So we plan on celebrating that. How does that feel to know that we're coming up on what I would say is basically our first big milestone together? How does that feel? Yeah, baby steps. Baby steps. You heard it here first, folks. Me too. um, I would. I never thought. Growing up, in my goals, in my vision of what my life would look like as an adult male, I would be lying if I said that I envisioned myself being married with children. Um, but those both are very true. Um, Not only are we married, but we have 3 kids. Um, and I'm loving it. It's definitely something that, like I said, it's not something that I had as a childhood goal, but I'm really loving and stepping into my role as not only a loving and providing husband, but also a father. Um, I feel as though that I need to do better with our sons as far as spending time with them. But I don't think that you can say anything bad about me with Layla. And y'all excuse my eye. I got a sty going on my right eye. So if you see me rubbing it, that's what's going on. That's why I got the shades on because got to keep the brand under the brand.
Two step in the field where you get 100% transparency.
Right. 100% transparency. Um, but if there's any areas that I feel that I really need to work on and grow on, it is being a father to our sons, a better father to our sons. As far as being um, more available, even though I am available, but just continuing to extend that olive branch to let our sons know that, hey, I know you might not want to talk to me, but uh, I did. It's not hurting, but it is what it is. Um, but yeah, whether it be just letting them know that I am somebody that they can talk to, and this is a pivotal part of their lives, especially our middle child Jordan, where this is that period where you know he's a good kid, but this is that crucial period where he needs to learn how to be a man the right way. Because I know there is a certain aspect of um, letting them learn through what they see, and I think the way that I treat you, hopefully he's picking up on how I treat his mom and his sister. Um, but I have to go deeper into explaining why I do what I do. And those conversations are going to have to be forced initially. Just get him out of his room and, just talk to him. Or maybe I just need to meet him in his room a few times to get him more comfortable, with me again. Because we once had a great relationship. Not that our relationship is terrible, but y'all know, teenagers will be teenagers. They don't want to talk to their parents. But we have to, as parents, force that. Especially for kids who are more reserved, like my middle child is. Our oldest son, what is he about to be? He's very extroverted. Never had a problem with making friends. I never, and a certified ladies' man on top of all of that. I think when I met him at 8, he had a girlfriend. um, yeah, pretty good. But we feel as though, well, I can't speak for you, but I know for me, becoming more of a hands-on father is one of my goals for, you know, parenting. Do you have any goals that you can think of that you would like to implement or work on as far as parenthood? Yeah.
Well, I would say like you, I could definitely do more one-on-one tutorials. Just to have some more maybe like mom and son time.
Yeah.
And with us having our own businesses and also with us still working our 9 to 5s, it's about just creating that time, for family time, just to do special things like I mentioned to you this week. I want us to make sure we go on vacation each year as a family. Right. Those type of things. I definitely want us to kind of work on doing more and incorporate family vacations because the memories is what's going to last. Right. Also, looking forward to more one-on-one mommy-daughter days with Layla, especially once she gets a little older and we're able to go and get our nails done, and go get our hair done at the salon and stuff. Little tea parties and party balls.
All the stuff that you dreamed about before she got
here. Yeah, she's not quite ready for it yet.
um, those are all valid points. You know, and working on becoming more of a parent should be more of a forefront in our lives. But when it's all said and done, what would you like the kids? What type of memories would you like for the kids to have with you?
Just of me being there and of me being a loving, caring, and nurturing mother. And for them to just always feel that no matter what, or no matter where they are, no matter how old they are, they can always call me.
And I think I could share that. I always want my kids to feel as though they can call on me, not necessarily for money, but you know, for support, for a conversation, for just to talk,
Yeah.
just a general conversation. I want them to feel, I want them to know that I love them, because it's one thing to tell somebody that you love them, but it's a completely different thing to actually know that somebody cares about you. And I definitely want to work on that. I'm going to work on that, and we're going to have a better relationship with our kids because of it. Hey, um, moving on to baby girl. I know we talked about her a little bit. So we have a 2-year-old that will be 3 soon. Um, and she is coming of age as to where she's getting a little personality. She has her little sassy walk. She, has her temper tantrums like any other toddler. But I see her growing each day. She's not talking yet, but she is starting to come around. We have her in speech therapy, working on that, and I can. I'm starting to see her like mature and just get smarter by the day. What are some of the things that you are seeing from her that you like?
I like seeing her independence.
Uh-huh.
Especially once we took down the baby gate,
Right.
she's all over the house.
Yes.
Climbing up and down the stairs,
Yeah.
opening up every door, going in every nook and cranny that she can go in. So, I do like that independence, although, it is tedious. Lay out. I didn't have to constantly, lay up, get back in here. So, I do love her independence. Looking forward to potty training and being fully potty trained. So, it's something I'm looking forward to taking place this year. Like she just is overall just a sweet girl.
She is very loving.
My Sour Patch Kid.
That's true. I think some of my favorite things to watch her do, like I said, just her growth. Seeing her with the game that we just downloaded on the iPad. I love seeing her solve those puzzles and hear, at least hear the words, because some of that stuff she's not getting on a daily basis. But just to see her become that loving child, because she was made out of love. Like she's always been around love. So I think it's going to come natural to her. She also got a little fight in it. But I think, like I said, it's going to come natural to her, and I do appreciate the fact that she's getting older. And from all the advice that I get from people who have had kids, they say that these moments not only matter, but they matter, but we won't remember the bad things. Or the things that we don't necessarily love. We won't remember those 5, 10 years from now. I don't know how necessarily true that is, because that sleep thing got me. The loss of sleep is probably the biggest the biggest deterrent for not having any more kids. What would you say that is for you? What's that? Well, let me not speak for you. Do you want any more kids at this point?
I do not.
And what has our toddler uh, done to solidify that thought?
I can't necessarily put it all on label. I am a woman of age now, so I'm older now. It's in my mid-30s. And I have a daughter, so I just don't see me get ready to reset that clock again.
No complications with the pregnancy or anything. She just stating the fact that she don't want kids no more, and I second that. But like I said, this is our third one. This Layla is our third kid, and we love her. I don't think it's necessarily that we don't have any more love to give, but children are time eaters. They are expensive, but time eaters. I think that's probably the most important thing to be a active parent that's in the household. You need to spend time with your kids, and I never want to be in a situation where I don't have time. With that being said, if you keep having more kids, that time just it comes down to an income thing too. Right now, we both have full time jobs along with businesses, so juggling everything else is where it can get a little tricky. But we're figuring that out, and we are working toward a plan to get us both out of corporate America. But for now, we're making it work. Um, and just enjoying it. Taking time out to watch the growth of our kids is crazy, especially our middle child, Jordan. He got a deep voice now. He hit that puberty kind of to. He always has been to himself to an extent, but I think he has been introverted. But I think even more so now, and maybe COVID had a lot to do with that. With him going that long stretch with being by himself, he became even more comfortable with that, as opposed to before. He would come downstairs and watch TV with us, or he would, um, just
Yeah, but now he's too busy on the game with his
yeah,
friends.
yeah, and just being a teenager, and like I said, being in his room, definitely got to pry him out of there more. But then we come to, we got an adult, Amari. Um, he has always been a respectful child to us. He's always marched to the beat of his own drum. Just to see him start to blossom into a man, it's up to me to give him those tips and tricks on how to successfully be a man. A lot of that is him again watching how I treat his mom and his daughter and handle the household. But now that he's an adult and no longer in our household, I have to bring it more to him. Have more of those conversations. Call him now. He does hit me up when he has a new project coming out. And I think that that's cool that he's comfortable to reach out to me on his own on any level, because but he is. I feel like he's starting to realize um, what the real world looks like, and you know, um, realizing that he needs to come up with a plan, which I'm ecstatic about. A lot of time you don't do stuff until you're ready, and it looks like he's right on the cusp of becoming ready. And our biggest prayer is that he gets there before something stops him. Overall, I know I didn't really give you a chance to talk about either one of the boys, but what is your overview of, the state of our sons? you know, their growth and maturity. What do you see right now?
Like I say, he's pretty much to himself, very not interested in, extracurricular activities such as sports or anything like that. Try to get him to consider that. He enjoys, coding and video games.
Right.
That's his alley. So, gotta let him do what he likes.
I think we need to do a better job of introducing those things. Like, if since we know he likes that, we need to find out how to get him into outside of the house. I know one time we did play around with some kind of computer camp that was local, but you know that was the whole COVID thing. Maybe we can get him back into that this summer and see where that goes. Because he's brilliant. He just got all A's for the first time in a while. Not because of anything other than effort. He's always all of our kids are very smart. Let me say that. Um, but yeah, it's an effort thing with him. And so we talked about our middle child. But what, in your words, what are your thoughts about the growth and maturity of our oldest son, Mario?
I think he's still finding his way. He's 19, so just trying to figure out exactly what it is that he wants to do with his life. So right now he's working, and I'm sure by him working, it's going to let him see that, hey, this may not be all it's cut up to be. Maybe I need to try something else. Maybe entrepreneurship. Maybe military. It's up to him. We can only advise and give our advice from our experiences as parents. But ultimately, it's up to our kids to decide whether or not they want to, need that advice.
My main thing for our oldest is that I want him to, one, be happy, and two, I want whatever he decides to do to take it seriously. Even if it is the rap career. If you want to do that, then I suggest you fully commit to it, because a halftime rapper, or a part time rapper, is not going to cut it. A part time anything, whatever you decide to do, I want him to be happy doing it, and I also want him to, take it seriously. Those are my main things. Like you said, we as parents, you have a vision for how you want your kids' lives to turn out, but it's completely up to them how it turns out. Like you said, all we can do is provide them with those tools, um, and let the chips fall where they may, and just be there for support and advice and love. Is I would say I do appreciate, like I said, the fact that he is starting to realize that maybe a job isn't for me. Not to say that there's anything wrong with a job specifically, but those starter jobs that kind of dead end, not making much money, not having much time for your family and the things that actually are important to you. I think he's starting to see that, like he just to piggyback off of what you said, and he's just on the cusp. And like I said, I just pray that he gets over that and finds something that he can actually commit to without, because life is going to happen. So it's advantageous to find something that keeps him out of trouble. Because I mean, as the youth, it's nothing. It's a whole lot of trouble that's out there for the youth, especially when you don't have a navigation system, if you will. And that's where we come in. Neither one of us ever been in any serious trouble, especially as responsible adults. So we're showing him through our actions one way, but I also think that we're also telling him we tell him all the time what he should do. But as a young man, you just have to find that path on your own, and just hopefully in his mind he replays all of those instances where we do remind him of where he could be, where he should be, um, and just go from there. Man, 3 kids, all of them completely different. And I'm sure my parents out there can attest to that. But yeah, they just completely different. 19-year-old, 15-year-old, and a soon-to-be 3-year-old who might feel as though she's an only child, but she's not. Um, I look forward to seeing their growth into little people and adults and responsible, productive citizens. And to be able to go and celebrate them. That's what I want to do. That's what the thing that they kind of robbed us of so far with our sons. They didn't participate in any extracurricular things, so we didn't have the opportunity to go to a game and celebrate them and see them win at anything.
But we did get the opportunity to go to honor roll centers.
We did. Because, like I said, we do have smart children. Um, but we are sports fans. Let's not sugarcoat that.
Look, I'll take academics over athletics any day.
Yes, and nobody is refuting that. Nobody is refuting that. You and I both went to college. We both, are high school graduates first. Before that, so we do know the value of an education and hitting the books. But we're sports fans too. So we still got Jordan that we could work on. It's his freshman year. You never know. Maybe he gets a bug this summer to. I don't care if it's the chess club, a coding club, something. Give me something. Give me something. And then who knows what Layla. Um, she's looking like she's going to have possibly an athletic build. And she's very smart. So um, at this point, the sky is the limit. So I'm interested to see how she's going to go. What course she's going to take as far as is she going to be both? Um, well, of course, ideally, I would want her to be a student athlete, but we just got to let her make that decision, like we did with our other children. And the weird part about that is that Amarion loves her, but not organized. Street ball king. Which was why it was so frustrating to see him not go that avenue in school, because you always saw him with a ball in his hand after school. So, uh, maybe street ball is life for him. But it's cool. Um, that's all I really had for today. As a too stubborn to fail moment for today, did you have anything in mind, or did you want me to go?
To be determined. We'll see how today goes.
Well, we have one TBD. We'll be coming back to you guys. Like I said, we are in a basically a kiosk in the mall. So um, the customers are starting to get here. So it's time to put on our professional faces and make some money. But we will be back after these commercials. Now, I already know what you're thinking. Where can I get the merch? I'm glad you asked. You can find it at toostubborntofail.com. That's toostubborntofail.com. All right. Now let's get back to the show. And we're back. Um, Welcome back to the Two Step in the Fail podcast. Now that you've had a brief word from our sponsors, we can. I want to get into accountability partners. Like, what would you say is the benefit of having someone that holds you accountable on a day-to-day or weekly or even a monthly basis?
I think the benefit is that it makes you actually follow through with things, especially when there are times and instances where, there are days that you just may not feel like doing something. But by having those accountability partners in place, like, it's going to make you go ahead and get it done and go the extra mile. So, for instance, I actually have a couple accountability partners. Me and two of my other girlfriends are in an accountability group that we started, and one of them, she and I, we work out together. So, as far as our fitness goals and working out, we're holding each other accountable. So, maybe days where we might not feel like going to the gym or working out, but then when the one calls the other, it's like, okay, you ready? Well, let's go ahead and do this. Even though you might not feel like going to the gym because you didn't work all day, it's like, okay, we said we're going to do this. The day is here. Let me just go ahead and get dressed and go to the gym and get this workout in. And then 9 times out of 10, you're going to feel a whole lot better once you get it done. For one, because it's something you set out to do, and by accomplishing that, you're feeling fulfilled. Then you're going to feel good overall because you've gotten that great workout in. So you're one step closer to your fitness goals. So I think it is very important to have your accountability partners. Now, as far as the group that I'm in, two of my girlfriends in our accountability group, we hold each other accountable in terms of our life goals. So each week we come up with our goals that we have for that week, and we let everyone knows what our goals are for the week. And every Friday we'll meet and we'll discuss whether or not we met those goals that we set for the week. And if you didn't meet your goals that you set for that week, then you have to cash out both of the other people $5. So that's kind of like a little penalty for you not completing your goals. So
That's
I think that's I think that puts a little bit more excitement to it and make you more liable to make sure you get those goals accomplished.
And the thing that I like about accountability partners, and I just want to kind of break down the word, like literally somebody who's there to hold you accountable. Like you said, during those times where you just don't feel like it. And also, along with that push comes motivation from not necessarily somebody getting on you to do a certain task, but motivating you by getting stuff done themselves. Like it can often lead to having much more success. Just seeing somebody who you see as a peer who values your work, go to that next level. All it does is push you. It makes you want to do something because you don't want to be. Nobody wants to be the weakest link. So it's always comes back to kind of not really competition, but like I said, inspiration. We're not in competition with one another. We're pushing one another to get better. And if you don't have those people in your life, that's when you can feel stuck because you end up comparing yourself as opposed to just going out and making something happen. You know, I love having accountability partners, and a part of that for me was first changing the circle to get around like-minded people, which we've discussed in previous episodes. But once you get around those like-minded people, are they holding you accountable, or is it just a photo op? Because you can say anything, but actions speak louder than words. Um, and a lot of times, I'm in one of my accountability groups. It's just like, no excuses are tolerated. Like really, it's a culture that has been built that says there are no like excuses aren't even an option. Basically, it's, why aren't you doing X? And then whatever answer you give is not good enough because it's an excuse at the end of the day. Because a lot of the times we are in our own head. A lot of things that I start, um, the anxiety and the fear that I have for starting them is just in my head. At the end of the day, it's never as bad as you actually think it is. Um, which you end up just getting into it and figuring out, oh, this wasn't so bad. Why? What took me so long? You know, um, a lot of that can bring me to another point of being in your own head. We are our biggest critic. We are our biggest hater in a sense because once we realize that there is nothing that we can accomplish if we just truly believe in ourselves and just get started, that's when things start moving. Because a lot of you just need to get started. Like that is, it sounds simple. It is simple, um, easier said than done, but really it's all about getting started. Um, I know specifically just talking about my weight loss journey. That first 2 to 3 months was a critical time period for me. One, I don't think that I know that I haven't ever, I would say, consistently worked out for more than a 6 month period. So for me, it was very important to at least surpass that 6 months and also pay attention to the success that I saw because of the progression. So once I hit that 6 month period in my head, I automatically know that I can do it. It's not a thought anymore. It's not like, oh, is something gonna happen? It's like my belief level shot up, and then I went from 6 months to a year, and now a year is turning into almost 2 years of consistent working out. And the only break, and you can attest to this, the only break that I've had was when I was down for COVID for a week or two, and even then I was trying to get back, sooner. So, like I said, it increases your belief level, and it makes you I can't even fully explain it. It's just something that you have to go through. It's part of the journey that you have to go through, and discovering that you can do whatever it is that for some reason you got in your head you can't. You actually can. But if you think that you can't, you're also right. that is funny. Yeah, it's funny how the mind works. We can trick ourselves into uh, another instance is being here at this pop-up shop. Like we haven't had any real business yet, but we're still being productive in filming the podcast. Even though we're here, we got to be here until 8, so we might as well make it productive. Because we could just be here. It ain't even whatever time it is. Nobody's coming this way. Let me move my. No, it's us using the cards that we are dealt, and making the most out of it, basically. And
that's what being sustainable in the film is all about.
Yep.
It's about, regardless of what obstacles may come in the way, it's about that perseverance in the face of adversity.
Right. Because nothing good comes from focusing on your problems. I don't care what it is. It comes down to this is our situation. These are our circumstances.
What are the solutions?
What can we do to fix it? What can we do to get out of this rut, or at least start the conversation or get the ball rolling? Because, like I said, the only thing that really matters is getting started. Because like I said, the belief level is different. It's different once you realize that it's not as bad as you thought, and 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10 you were right. It's not as bad as you thought, but for some reason it's a voice that plays in us that tells us initially that we can't do something. And I don't know exactly when that happens, because when that switch is flipped, because our daughter does it she believes she can do anything. And I don't ever want to kill that in her. I mean, obviously, I want her to stay safe and practical in a sense, but I never want to kill her dream um, in that adventurous quality that all kids have in the beginning. But maybe parents end up killing it. Maybe experiences without context end up killing it. But I just want her to keep that spirit that she has to an extent. Um, because you almost have to have a childlike belief in a sense, making sure that hey, I can do whatever I want to do, but it's about making that decision to do so. Um, like I said, we're here. Um, we've had some great conversation with a few people. Nobody has bought anything yet, but that's okay because there are not only are we, dealing with our current circumstances, we also have goals that aren't necessarily monetary goals. Um, I was able to get some extra footage from someone who came up and agreed, and we could possibly get a episode out of him. Shout out to the brother Diverse from St. Louis. Um, hopefully we can collaborate and get him on the podcast in the future. But that is the kind of things that don't happen if you go into a negative mindset.
Or if you don't show up at all.
Yeah, or if you don't show up at all, because we could have.
Regardless of if we sell any merchandise today, other opportunities are available within the circumstances of us network.
Right.
And your network can get you a whole lot further than you.
Right. Right. And like I said, we have a set list of goals that we wanted to hit today, and all of them are still obtainable. But in the meantime, we're making the most out of the time that we do have, and you know, we'll see what happens. All right. Now, another word from our sponsors. Uh-huh. I switched sides on you. Why you ain't go to the site yet? TooStubbornToFail.com. That's TooStubbornToFail.com. Go check it out. All right. Welcome back to the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. We were having an interesting conversation just now about comfort zone. And sometimes you may not even realize that something is uncomfortable for you. Prime example is my wife on here sounding like Minnie Mouse on the podcast. Y'all ain't been able to hear one answer she said this whole time, and we talking on the same mic. And no, it's not closer to me; it's in the middle. Um, so that has everything to do with comfort. As a matter of fact, if you all go back to the first episode, if you go back to the first episode, I'm timid myself on there. And the only thing is, I've actually been in every episode, each and every episode out of the 20. So I've been able to like build that muscle consistently, and that seems to be the difference because my wife is still, like I said, on the low side, and I need my co-host to catch up, Mustard.
Okay, full transparency. I think I just have to get comfortable being in front of the camera.
That's fair. That's fair. That's 100% what it is.
Am I talking loud enough now?
We'll see. But it's all that's what it is all about. Is the more you do something, the more comfortable you get within that. And I say that, and I know that because for one, this time last year, I wasn't thinking about a podcast, and then if I was thinking about a podcast, I wasn't associating it with me having a podcast for a multitude of reasons. But the first one being that this wasn't my life. Uh, being comfortable in front of the camera, being comfortable with public speaking that is something that I traditionally struggled with. So when we all had that time to reflect over the pandemic and sit down, this is one of the things that I realized was a weak point for me. And I decided to just go ahead and attack it. And there's nothing more public than putting your videos on YouTube.
Okay.
No matter what they look like. So initially, when I got started, that was my main focus. And it's still a focus of mine to get better with each and every episode. Can you say that watching the episodes on a weekly basis, what have you seen as far as my growth in this podcasting space?
Well, definitely, like you said, I've gotten much more comfortable. It, you definitely have gotten much more comfortable in front of the camera. Your interviewing questions, I know, come to you a lot more naturally now since you've done it more. To the point where I know initially, you were writing down questions, and now you probably don't even have.
It was a struggle.
Like you said, that comes with the repetition, with doing it over time, just the growth.
And we're a lot stronger than we realize. I know I never thought that I would be a host of a show on any level. Um, but now that I'm in it, I actually love it. And the more that I do it, the better I get at it. The better I get at it, the better the show becomes. The better, just everything. When the bag is different, the conversation is different. Everything it gets better. It's a muscle, basically. I mean, in this sense, not literally, but metaphorically speaking, it's strengthening a muscle over time. And as a co-host, you'll come along. It's my fault
I'm
that you.
still over here laughing on the inside that you're talking about white sounding like this.
And that's another thing is I also want my authenticity to come out more in the episodes, and that we don't get there until there's a comfort.
Right.
Because initially you go back and watch our earlier episodes, we both look terrified. We sound terrified, but confidence releases a lot of things. It unlocks a lot of doors, and the more confident you are, the better.
How tight is this shot?
About right under the logo. You know, it. I think it's flattering. I think it's flattering. We finally got you at a good angle, and that again comes with repetition. Before our sponsors, we had a few less than desirable shots, but we finally rigged it up in a literally a two stubborn affair. I wish y'all could see this two stubborn affair setup that we got. But it's being held up with one of these. Just to make a long story short. Um, but yeah, that is literally the epitome of what I want to accomplish with the brand um, going forward. It's just I want everyone to be able to resonate with Too Stubborn to Fail on a personal level because I feel as though everybody has a story about overcoming adversity. Everybody has a story about being scared, doing it ugly, getting out of your own way. It's so many inspirational testimonies that people are waiting to talk about. And I think it's my job to talk to them. And I'm interested to see your growth in this space because it's not, like you said, it's not in your wheelhouse. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. And once you and I get comfortable, I think the show will go to another level where we can show our authenticity together. Um, and it's just a part of just we got to get these episodes out. We still this is episode 21. Um, I can't wait to episode 100. So, it's going to be a lot of growth in between now. So I'm just interested to see, one, what that looks like, and basically, like, how much growth. It's going to be a lot of growth in between now and episode 100. Like I said, the bag will be different, so the conversation will be different. And now another word from my sponsors.
Now, I already know what you're thinking. Where can I get the merch? I'm glad you asked. You can find it at toostubborntofail.com. That's toostubborntofail.com. All right, now let's get back to it.
All right. As we wrap up the podcast today, what do you have any closing remarks, any ideas, anything you want, like last minute things that you want to add to this amazing episode?
I just like to say that roll with the punches. Roll with the punches, baby.
we, as we sit here at 2:35, still plenty of time left, but have yet to actually sell any merchandise, which is fine. That every day can't be a winner. Not a loss. Definitely haven't hit our goals yet, but it's still time for that. We did learn a lot about today as far as location. Um, we learned that this is a very nice mall. Foot traffic is really good here, so that wasn't the issue. Just, you know, getting more experience. I'm sure being in a different location would have netted slightly different results, but we won't know that until the next one. As far as too stubborn to fail moments go, this is definitely one of them. Just being, still remaining positive, still focusing on the the positive things that came out of today. One, quality time with my wife, which is always good. Two, just getting some experience as a vendor because we've never really done it. Didn't really know what to expect or what to realistically think would be, an outcome. But now that we're here, we know what's the what. Um, so just being here, not being discouraged, um, even planning on coming back at some point. So it's definitely not a loss. I consider it a learning experience, and got a few extra subscribers today. So like I said, it's definitely not a lost cause. This has been another amazing episode of the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. Um, before we get out of here, let the people know where they can find you.
So you can find me at allthingsdesign.org. That's my website, as well as Facebook, All Things Design, and Instagram, All Things Design.
And we also gonna work on her volume because I think her batteries are dead. That's what it is. Um, but
I was like talking so much.
no, you weren't. You still talking low. I think it's just because the camera's on, but it's good. We're gonna work with it. It's not. It's not. Y'all know it ain't. but make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. We do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. This has been another amazing episode of the Too Stubborn to Fail podcast. I am your host, Darren Perkins, and I am Too Stubborn to Fail.